Welcome back to Secret Weapons. My name is Mark Johnston. If this is your first time here, this is a YouTube channel where we do gear demos and reviews, as well as studio tips and tricks for leveling up your writing, playing, and tube light purchasing habits from the perspective of a guitar player working out of a home studio. If that's the kind of thing that would appeal to you, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button and stick around for future videos. Today we're taking a look at the Jam Pedals Rattler V2. Keen-eyed viewers may recognize that the Jam Pedals Rattler V1 has popped up on this channel here and there over the last year and change. I met the Jam guys and got to use their gear for the first time at NAMM a year or two ago, and was immediately taken with this pedal, specifically the V1 of this pedal, the Jam Pedals Rattler, a Rat-style distortion box that really felt like it rounded out what I wanted out of a Rat circuit. I, of course, have talked at length and used at beyond length the 1981 Inventions DRV on this channel and in a lot of my writing and playing, both live and in the studio, for years now, and have hailed the DRV as one of my favorite pedals of all time. That pedal is credited with making me realize that at almost all times, the distortion tone I am looking for is something from that Proco Rat lineage. And what Jam Pedals has brought to the table with their take on the Rat circuit is absolutely worth paying attention to. The V1 brought a kind of more round, more smooth, more rich low-end presence to the Rat sound for my use cases, and the V2 builds on all of those things in a couple of really great ways. Let's talk about what's new with the version 2 of the Rattler. And so what we have here is the same kind of 3-knob configuration like you would get out of any kind of Rat style pedal. You have your tone or cut in kind of more traditional ways, your level, and your gain. This, of course, is going to be volume of the pedal, amount of distortion, and how bright or dark the circuit is. New to this pedal is a switch right here for symmetrical, or in the up position, asymmetrical clipping in this pedal. Symmetrical, that down position, having more low end and a little bit more what I would call beef to the sound than its asymmetrical counterpart, which is more of that classic Rat like low mid cut that gives it that kind of like silky smooth treblier sound. And you may notice that there's also now a second foot switch on this pedal, and that is the mid-range boost for the Jam Pedals Rattler. The mid-range boost is going to be kind of adjustable to a certain extent. If you open up the back of the pedal, which we will in this video, you will have access to a trim pot and a switch, like a dip switch. The dip switch is going to be a low boost, so basically like additional low end on the boost only, and the trim pot is going to be the volume of the boost. This boost is not a flat boost, it's not a treble boost, it is very much a mid-range boost that adds kind of mid-presence, not honk, but definitely it works well as a solo booster, so you can kind of dial in the sound you want for your kind of low mid-range or gainy rhythm guitar bass distortion tone here, and then kick that on for additional weight and hair and chaos. And make no mistake, this thing gets chaotic when you want it to. It is very much a distortion box, but it's a distortion box with a lot of range and a lot of touch responsiveness and a couple other really cool things. Like in that down position in symmetrical mode, you can take gain to fully 0 and level to 100, and it unlocks this really great preamp sound. The tone control can basically be set up to make that sound slightly brighter or slightly darker, but it definitely doesn't have the kind of bright, toothy hairiness of a Rat when that gain is at 0. It is very much in line with what you would hear from the zero gain mod from the DRV. They're kind of cousins in that way. But of course, even at that kind of preampy, mellow sound right there that you're actually hearing right now as it happens playing underneath from the end of that track, when you kick on that mid-range boost, you still get a lot of gain out of this pedal, which means you can actually get like a really kind of warm distortion tone out of this, and not just those kind of conventionally bristling distortion sounds that you expect to get from a Rat. I am obviously a big fan of the Rat distortion sound. It's pretty key and crucial to a lot of the ways in which I pull high gain or even mid gain sounds from distortion these days. And I think that when it comes to my two favorite distortion boxes, they're both obviously Rat influenced, and so it's no surprise that this was going to connect with me in the ways that it has. So let's go ahead and throw this back in the signal chain, and let's give the Rattler V2 a listen. So as always, before we get into our sound samples, let's talk through our signal chain and the context we are working in. I am playing my Jennings Navigator with McNally's Stagger Swagger pickups into the Jam Pedals Rattler and into the Benson Monarch Plus. We are running into the Universal Audio aux box for cabinets and then into our preamps, which are a pair of Warm Audio WA273 EQ Neve style preamps. We're recording into Universal Audio Luna, and this is what our clean tone sounds like. We're going to start off with everything just above noon and the clipping toggle in the down position for symmetrical clipping. As you can hear, one of the big benefits of the Rattler right off the bat is just how much more kind of beef it's got than some of the other Rat options out there in the world. It helps that we are, of course, using humbuckers in this context, but these are pretty jangly, very wide-range-esque humbuckers regardless. So let's go ahead and walk through the kind of gain and level combination here before getting into tone, clipping, and some of the other kind of deeper additions to the new version of the Rattler. So there's a sound here in this symmetrical clipping the down position where if you minimize your gain and maximize your level, you get this really great preamp that sounds really useful as an always on that we've used here on the channel before. It's very much a just thickening agent for your kind of bass tone. As you can hear, it does not quite exist with the other, with the asymmetrical setting. to start climbing that gain range past noon. And dimed. Keep that volume up. There's some good sustain in there. Let's dial that back and give a listen to our asymmetrical mode. Asymmetrical is definitely going to give you more of that classical rat sound. It's a little bit more in line with what I remember from the V1 of this pedal, as well as kind of like, you know, old school Procos, whereas this gives you a slightly heavier, thicker, more versatile distortion tone. So if you want that glass, this is definitely where you want to be. And if you want that kind of chunkiness, down position. I have found that, especially like in that intro track, there's a lot of merit in double tracking guitars. And rather than doing like a conventional amp switch or mic switch or whatever, just tracking one side of rhythm in the down position and one side in the up position, panning them out and getting that clarity alongside that kind of weight. And before we go ahead and open up the back of this pedal to give a listen to some of the kind of internal controls, the switch for bass boosting as well as that mid-range boost, let's go ahead and jump back down, go to that kind of like always on preamp sound, and use that to give this boost a listen. And then we'll use that boost in context. This is our mid-range boost, which is going to push more mids and depending on how you have the internal trim pot set, more volume overall through the Rattler for more kind of bombastic, higher gain sounds. So. As you can hear, it is a very different sound than disengaging and turning up the gain. So let's put it back into a kind of like a low gain but proper like overdrive sound. Obviously, that can be set up to be more subtle than this, but it can also be set up to be a really significant gain stage step up. Its utility as a mid-range boost too also makes it really good for jumping into solo. So if you've got kind of your, what you would consider to be a good mid-gain rhythm guitar sound like this. There's a lot of gain there if you want it. Let's go ahead and give that tone control a listen. Okay, let's go ahead and open this thing up. Okay, so we've gone ahead and opened up the Rattler so we can take a look at that internal trim pot and that additional switch right here. And these are going to be for the boost circuit specifically, that mid-range boost. This is going to control the amount of level that that boost kind of comes with. And the switch up here is going to be an additional optional bass boost for the mid-range boost circuit specifically. So let's start by giving a listen to the Rattler knobs at noon with current trim pot and switch settings set, which is pretty close to factory stock for the amount of boost, and with the additional low-end boost disengaged. Taking it down to minimum amount of boost added. And let's compare that to with the bass boost disengaged to see what the kind of volume and tonal difference is with the boost set to minimum. So that trim pot will always increase saturation to a certain amount because it's pushing that mid-range harder. But at minimum settings, you can actually use it as a slight volume reducer overall, which is really interesting. Let's go ahead and bring it back up to about the halfway point. Okay, and conversely, let's go ahead and give a listen to that bass boost option as well. We'll listen to this both in terms of the symmetrical and asymmetrical clipping mode, so you can hear kind of the maximum amount of low end this thing will push through. So pedal on, boost engaged, no low end circuit. Bass boost circuit engaged. And disengaging the boost circuit overall. Let's go ahead and disengage that boost circuit, make the jump from symmetrical to asymmetrical. So we've disengaged the boost circuit and we've made the jump from symmetrical to asymmetrical clipping. So as you can hear, we've got more low end already. A lot of low end here. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you once again for sticking around to the end. It's great for the algorithm, I guess. And so is hitting that like button if you haven't already. It does an annoying amount of help in terms of growing the channel and allowing me to do things like buy more tube lights. I would love to know from you in the comments down below, what is the kind of preferred voicing of distortion pedal for you? We live in a world where so many great boutique builders make their own take on classic circuits. And right now, I'm less curious what your favorite individual box is, and I'm more curious, what kind of flavor do you look for when you are looking at a new builder's lineup? So let me know down below. I'm actually very curious to hear the answer to that question. So once again, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.